Good evening, folks, and it's that time again. It's Alan and Jane here with hashtag PopUpJane's Wine of the Week. And this week, as promised, we're going to review two wines, a white and a red, the Vergelegen Sauvignon Blanc and the Dark Horse Malbec, I believe, we're doing this afternoon, or this evening I should say. And I suppose without further ado, we'll just crack on.
Red or white first?
Well, I think white first. It's lighter and fruitier usually, and convention says white first. Oh. Don't you love Stelvin?
There we go.
Thank you. As ever. Nice big glug. One of these days we'll talk about corked wine or wine defects. I suppose we'll get around to that at some point. I actually poured quite a big glass. It's ridiculous. I have to drink all this before we go on to our second wine because we've only brought 2 glasses up the stairs. Shocking. Right, anyway. Colour. This is a lovely lemon, light gold colour. It's relatively intense, I'd say. But for the same token, it's not opaque or anything like that. It's a nice colour, really, really rich. It's got reasonable legs, and I would guess this is 12.5 to 13.5%, maybe even 13. 13.5, there you go, 13.5%. So quite alcoholic, and again, that you can see the alcohol, you can't see, but we can see the alcohol clinging to the outside of the glass. But on the nose, oh, so very intense. Gooseberry. Definitely, very definitely gooseberry. Very definitely sort of. Dare I say there's a little bit of cat wee in there as well. No, we don't have a cat. It wasn't me either. Yeah, quite, and a wee bit of citrus on the nose there as well. There's no oak on this at all. It's just purely, I think, probably stainless steel fermented. But very fresh, very, very fruity on the nose.
Very, very pleasant.
Huge flavours. Got that gooseberry coming through. Flintiness, minerality, unbelievably intense. It's so tasty. Hopefully you've all got this. It's such a lovely wine. Really fresh. Potentially you could argue this time of year, maybe a wee bit fresh. This is a kind of summery evening drinking wine. But again, you could stand up to food quite nicely. And Sauvignon Blanc has got that kind of like fruitiness and tartness that it could do quite well alongside quite a lot of fruits, chicken, fish, these sort of things. Maybe even a wee bit of spicy stuff as well. But it's really nice. This is really intense, and the reason I'm not having another mouthful is because the flavours just go on and on and on. It's really long finish. It just goes on, and it goes into like lovely soft citrus notes, a lovely little like lemony finish.
Definitely very, very fresh, very nice, very fruity as well. And it's not too acidic.
No, the acidity is beautifully balanced. That's a good point, Jane. Actually, well made. The acidity in this is there. It's necessary because the fruit is quite tart, but that acidity kind of almost lifts it and gives it that body and vitality to just make it a really nice wine. Anyway, should we rate it?
Yeah.
It's a cracker. It's an absolute cracker.
It is.
That's 4.5, 4.6 on my Vivino scale easily. If I could do units of 0.1, so I'm going to be rating this about 4.5 on Vivino scale. Great wine. I would recommend this vineyard, as well for the rest of the wines, but we'll talk about them later. And I'm just going to finish this glass before we actually pour the second one. What we could do while we're just finishing this wee glass of wine, because I over poured, forgetting we had 2 wines to do tonight, we could actually introduce next week's wine of the week.
Okay, I've chosen this again, and it is actually coming to that time of year.
Somebody's excited.
And we let's not let it be said that I overdo Christmas. So I am going, it's another Marks and Spencer's wine because it is very easily available. And it's one of Fred's recommendations as well.
We like Fred.
We like Fred. So it's going to be a pink Prosecco. Let me see.
Back a bit.
So it's the pink Prosecco from Marks and Spencer's. And it's on offer at the moment as well. It's down to £8 a bottle.
Yeah. It is the Conte Pruli Prosecco Rosé. Okay.
I couldn't say that.
Conte Pruli Prosecco Rosé. Marks and Spencer's, they do more than one pink Prosecco. So they want the Conte Pruli. It's going to be reduced. It's a great reduction actually. They've reduced it from £72 to £48 for a case of 6. But if you're in the store, you can just buy one, which is great. We'll certainly be interested to see what this is like because we do like a wee bit of fizz, and we've got friends who come round who do enjoy a bit of fizz.
A little bit of fizz.
So it's always handy to have some in. And of course, Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without something fizzy. So,
and we need to start thinking about this as well, and probably
because
getting your wines in.
One more pay to Christmas, folks. Unless you're paid in the middle of the month, one more pay to Christmas. So you've got to think about what you're going to buy and drink over the Christmas period. And it's not all about volume. You should be thinking about quality as well. Okay.
Yes.
Without further ado, then, shall we move on? Sorry for making you neck that, honey.
To our second wine.
Yep. This is the Dark Horse Malbec. So California. Between. Don't you love Stelvins? Okay, so Dark Horse Malbec. This is not typically where we'd think about getting Malbec from, to be honest. I mean, although the Californians do make a lot of what we'd call typical Bordeaux blends, Malbec obviously originated in France, famous in France, in areas like Bordeaux and the south of France, but particularly Bordeaux is renowned for Malbec being part of the blend of classic, really good quality Bordeaux. But the real home of Malbec now for me is Argentina. Argentinian Malbecs are world beating. Although it's grown widely, the Australians grow it, etc., even to an extent in places like New Zealand. But for me, Argentinian Malbec is where you'll get the pinnacle of Malbec. So interesting to see what Dark Horse have done with this.
And if you did manage to get it in Tesco's later on this week, it is with your club card. It's reduced to £7.
For me, it's at £8.50 normally a bottle, I think, and it's down to £7. So again, the appearance on this, it's deep purple in colour, slightly opaque towards the rim, so you can see through the wine at the edge of the rim. So not a massive intensity that you get with a sort of like some of the Argentinian Malbecs. The legs in this are really pronounced though, and again you can't see it. This has got to be 14.5, maybe even 15. It's oh god almighty, I don't have my eyes on. 14.5%.
Big wine.
It's a big intensity in terms of alcohol. The worry here is there might be too much alcohol. So let's get our nose in, see what we get next.
Very, very fruity. It's like
you get your nose in, you're like bang. It's dark fruits. It's brambles. There's plum. There's raspberries. There's all kinds of fruitiness going on here. It's really big and really intensely fruity. It's big on the nose, quite typical of a lot of Californian wines. There's some notes here that would suggest there's maybe been some contact with oak, so there's a wee bit of vanilla, a wee bit of sort of cederiness to it, oakiness that's in there. So very, very much has possibly had a wee bit of oak in there. So
it's fruitier than I thought.
Fruit bomb.
And it's not quite as pleasant as I would have thought.
Okay.
Because this is a Californian one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking later on in a week or so we need to try the Argentinian Malbec.
So for me, this is typical of what I would call a lower end Californian wine, where sometimes they go for almost over extraction. It's too much. There's too much alcohol. There's too much fruit. Too much intensity, and that sounds like almost like a contradiction in terms, but it's not. It's just everything's there, but it's there's no tannins. There's no structure to it. It's just fruity and alcoholic.
it's nice to drink. It's just a little strange, and I don't know. For the price, I think there's an awful lot more better wine out there.
I wouldn't disagree.
Yeah.
So on our rating scale, I think.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Happy wife, happy life. Anyway, no, it's okay. It's not bad. So
No,
from that
and it's
point
not
of view,
unpleasant. It's very fruity. But there is better out there.
for if you're even if you're paying £7 a bottle, I reckon we could find something nicer for £7 a bottle that was a Malbec, that would be more characteristic of what a Malbec should be.
Yeah.
So we've covered next week's wine. We've covered the wines of the week. As ever, comments below. Your thoughts on what we could or should review would be very much appreciated. Your feedback and what you think.
If there's a particular wine that you want us to try and let everybody know what it's like, if it's your favourite wine, let us know. We can try it and we'll see what we think of it.
Yeah, absolutely. But once again, thanks for watching in. Remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel would be great. And share the shit out of it, please. Sorry, pardon my language. But you know, the more folk that we get involved, the more fun it can be, the more comments we can have. And sadly, unlike last week where we did the Facebook Live session, we won't be able to do them that often because often it's not. Yeah, the boss has to work on a Friday night most nights. However, we may try and schedule some other Facebook Live events in the future, just for a Saturday or for another night, just for a bit of fun. So again, feedback in the comments below as to what you'd like to see. It's kind of for you as much as it is for us. We enjoy, as you know, like drinking the odd wine or two.
Just the odd one.
Just the odd. We wouldn't normally, and especially not on a school night. You know, so we are doing this. We're experimenting on ourselves for you. Okay.
Absolutely.
So cheers, y'all.
Have a good week and stay safe.
Yep, absolutely. Take care, everybody. Speak to you soon. Bye.
Have a good week.